is my meditation all the day, all the night, morning through night. And I delight in the law of the Lord, and on his law I meditate day and night. Morning Meditations with C.J. Marshall.
Good morning. Paul in this section talks about how his gospel was authentic. Listen to what he says. But I make known to you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached by me is not according to man, for I neither received it from man, nor was I taught it, but it came through the revelation of Jesus Christ. For you have heard from my former conduct in Judaism how I persecuted the church of God beyond measure and tried to destroy it. And I advanced in Judaism beyond many of my contemporaries in my own nation, being more exceedingly zealous for the tradition of my fathers. Paul, in this section, defends his apostleship, that he got his message directly from God. It wasn't from some man, but in verse 12 he says, I received it directly from Jesus Christ. And verses 13 and 14, he gives a credibility to his witness because he was a hostile witness. Paul says, you guys know how I used to destroy Judaism. He was in Acts chapter 8. Listen to this. This is right after the stoning of Stephen, and notice what the first 4 verses says. Now Saul was consenting to his death. At that time a great persecution arose against the church which was at Jerusalem, and they were all scattered throughout the regions of Judea and Samaria, except the apostles. And devout men carried Stephen to his burial, and made great lamentation over him. As for Saul, notice, Saul was doing this. He made havoc of the church, entering every house and dragging off men and women, committing them to prison. So we can clearly see from that reading that Paul was a hostile witness, but he says in verse 15, but when it pleased God who separated me from my mother's womb and called me through his grace to reveal his Son in me, that I might preach him among the Gentiles, I did not immediately confer with flesh and blood, nor did I go up to Jerusalem to those who were apostles before me, but I went to Arabia, and then returned again to Damascus. Paul said that God was pleased to reveal Jesus through Paul. And Paul also said that from birth he was separated to preach the gospel. He said in verse 15 that he was called through the grace of God, and that he had Jesus revealed to him in order that he may preach to the Gentiles. We read about this in Acts chapter 9, where Paul is called. And so the last thing he says in verse 17, look guys, I got this message directly from Jesus. I did not confer with any man. I did not go to Jerusalem where all the apostles were. My message is authentic because the false teachers have been calling into question Paul's antithesis. And he says, no guys, believe me. I got my message, which you believe in, directly from heaven. This is authentic. It has authenticity to it because it's from heaven, not from man. Thank you all for joining me for another episode of Morning Meditations. May we always be like the psalmist that says, oh, how I love your law. It is my meditation all the day. I'll see you next time. God bless.
Morning meditations, oh how I love thy law, it is my meditation all the day, all the night, morning through night. And I delight in the law of the Lord, and on his law I meditate day and night.